Good morning and welcome once again to our business community support discussions, a part of what we're doing here on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Can also be found live on the Alpha Media YouTube channel. And we're happy to have everybody joining us and asking questions along the way. Just a reminder, this is a live show. So if you happen to catch it there on Facebook and you put a comment in, we can see that. And you can become part of the show. Ask your questions today. And so we're always happy to have that happen as well. So let's bring on our regular panel of folks who help us bring you this program. Of course, that includes Cheryl O'Hearn with, good morning, Cheryl O'Hearn with Spin Market and Digital. Also, Darcy Swan joining us from North Central Iowa's SBDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we also have Chris Patrick from Main Street Fort Dodge, whose Facebook account we hijack in order to have this program each and every week. So good morning.
And it's also on your YouTube.
That's
on
right.
your YouTube, yeah.
Well, good morning, Jed, and you can hijack our Facebook page anytime.
Glad to do it. Glad to do it. So I'm really excited about today's program. This is something going on in Fort Dodge that I think is really going to answer a lot of questions for folks who are maybe wondering what's going on with it. And so let's talk about what exactly we're going to talk about today. We're going to be bringing on Rhonda Chambers, the airport manager for Fort Dodge Regional Airport. And the question that everyone always has right at the airport right now is, well, what does United mean? If we don't have Air Choice One, what does that mean? Well, we're going to answer all those questions today. So let's go ahead and bring on Rhonda. Good morning, Rhonda. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. And yes, those have been the questions. What does it mean and how does it work? And, all those wonderful questions. So thank you for having me on today. I'm really excited to hopefully answer some questions and have the opportunity to get this out through, your media as far as how people can watch it even later if they miss the program. So it has some great information about some really wonderful things that the air service has turned into or changed to from what it was before and why we did what we did and why it's changed.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Get a lot of questions of that.
Well, we want to talk about something real quickly before we get into the switch to United. And that's sort of the COVID situation out at the airport. What sort of protocols are you guys currently, undergoing? I mean, I know that you can still fly. We've done it recently. So I know that you're still flying. But what protocols do people need to think about before they come?
So the airports across the country, any airport is under a federal mandate. So all of our, when you come into our airport, at any airport, you're required to wear a mask. The airlines also have that requirement. We also have additional cleaning, and I'll talk a little bit about how United has, what they do as far as their Clean Plus program to make sure that all their aircraft are cleaned after every flight and what they do to make sure that everybody's safe. There's data out there that says flying in an airplane is not the airport. I'm not talking about walking in the airport, but the way that the air filters in an airplane is, you always turn the little thing on over your head. So it sucks all the air down to the floor and then filters it. So the environment inside an aircraft is pretty safe as far as that, but you are required to wear your mask on United's flights too.
Got it. Well, let's dig into all the things that you've got going on, because you do have sort of some slides for us to work through. So let's walk through what exactly is United, and you have SkyWest listed here. So talk to us about that partnership and what that means.
Yeah, so there's slides that go on farther to explain it. So I don't want anybody to be confused, because this is truly this is a fully branded United Airlines service, all right? It's operated by a regional carrier, which is called SkyWest Airlines, but SkyWest doesn't have a website. They don't have anything like that. So this is a United Airlines flight. They're 50-seat jets. It will be painted with United Airlines, United Express colors. It sells online services to and from Fort Dodge to anywhere in the world. They have the United Clean Plus standards for the COVID-19 cleaning on all their aircraft. And of course, they will set lower through fares across its system, which means you're in United Airlines' system when you book out of Fort Dodge, not just to Chicago. So, the question was, well, why did you give up St. Louis? And, I really like going to St. Louis. The difference is that this service offers so much more than what we had before. And the other service is great. Don't get me wrong. We enjoyed Air Choice One. We still have a good relationship with them. We're talking of possibly doing maybe some charters for Cardinal, for baseball games. So we haven't severed that. It was a very, they totally understand that the level of service that United and this service can provide, they just couldn't do that. And so they totally understand the decision that was made. It was in the hands of the USDOT at the end, who they selected. But they're the ones that actually make the final decision on what air service we get. So, one of those things that, United has is their United Mileage Plus Frequent Flyer program. They have a ton of discounts that are available for companies and individuals, and loyalty programs for anybody who continues to fly on them. So if we go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about, go ahead, Jack, just move to there we go. The other thing that's different is that you will be flying into the United Airlines terminal in Chicago. So you're not going to go into a different part of the airport in Chicago. You're flying into the United terminal. The other thing that's different is that if you check any bags, if you are making connections across the country, you don't have to go outside of the sterile area and recheck your bag. It is seamlessly put on to your final destination. So it is a true United Airlines service, and the United app is powerful to purchase tickets, to do your check-in, to get boarding passes, and your aircraft flight status. United has great on-time performance, completion factors, in-flight and their baggage connections. It's all seamless. So no more having to leave early or drive to another airport, because this is the same service that is at those other airports for Minneapolis or Des Moines. So this is true United service. The mobile app, what really is amazing about United is United has powerful tools. It is United Airlines. This isn't SkyWest. This is United Airlines. And if you download that United mobile app, you can do anything on that, just like you can. I mean, I'm sure others have different kind of apps when they fly, but the easiest way to do, because when you download the app and book your tickets at united.com, your flights are on your phone. So that means, let's say there's a delay or a gate change, whatever, all that information comes up on that app. You don't have to, it is a communication tool between you and the airline. And it's truly, truly valuable as far as how United can communicate with you as a passenger.
Yeah, Rhonda, if you've never utilized the app for your gate passes, changes your world.
Changes your world. And out here in Fort Dodge, I know a lot of people are going, well, is all that working? Absolutely. If you have TSA Pre-Check, it's working here. You don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to, take your bags out. If you don't know what TSA Pre-Check is, you can Google it. But basically, you go through and get fingerprinted, and then you have what's called a KTN number, a known traveler number. They do a background check, and then you do not have to take your liquids out of your bags. You don't have to take your shoes off. You just put your bag on there and go through the x-ray or the metal detector. That's it. So all of those services are here in Fort Dodge, just like they are at the larger airports. So it is a true increase in what kind of air service is going in and out of Fort Dodge.
A lot of people are probably wondering, and I think this might be coming up a little bit later on, but as you get onto this app, do you need to worry about, hey, am I going to get a worse deal because I'm going directly through United? A lot of folks use these third-party apps to buy tickets. Is there a benefit to using the United app?
It is the only way. United recommends, and I do have some information, but you have to understand that when you use a third-party app, when you use an Expedia or any of those, you might think that you're getting a better fare, but you have to remember those apps or those businesses are making money at some point to mark it up. I always tell everybody the best fare you can always get is on united.com or using your app. The third party, the other thing I always tell people is, let's say there's a problem with your flight. Okay, so you booked on Expedia. Expedia doesn't have anybody to help you or call. It is truly just an online platform. All of those third parties, they're just online platform. They don't have anyone to help you if you made a mistake in booking it. So the safest and most reliable way to get good information about your flight, delay, change of gate is always to book it on united.com or book it on the app that you can download it. All of that is on there, and it has on-time flight status. It has if your gate is moving, if your time is if you're gonna arrive early. A lot of our flights are arriving early as far as because the time it takes to actually fly is shorter than the block of time that the airlines has for their flights. So they factor in things like right now a block of time, like if you were to book a flight out of Fort Dodge, just like an hour and a half to 2 hours, that isn't how long it takes in the air. That's dependent upon if there was de-icing. If you're depending on the time of day, there's a lot of airplanes that have to move around Chicago. The actual air time from Fort Dodge in this jet, Fort Dodge to Chicago, is under an hour. So it's a very fast aircraft. So it's not a lot of air time, but they just factor it in. So a lot of times our flights are early, most of the time. But this app will show you all of that. If it's going to be a half hour early, or whatever. So United Airlines in the year ending 2019, just to give you an idea of the size of United, they had 88,000 employees, served 163 million customers, and they took about almost 2 million flights. So they have 4,900 flights daily on 14 aircraft. So they have 800 mainline carriers. Now, mainline carriers are, the big aircraft, all right? And they also have 600 regional units also that are in part of their system. They have 45 United Club locations at 33 airports. And they were the founding member of the Star Alliance group that has 26 airlines serving 1,300 airports in 193 countries that all have a partnership with United. So you can basically get the points and everything on 26 different airlines. I mean, they're all connected with the Star Alliance. So it's over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. So it's, connecting you, to more than 320 destinations in 48 countries. So it's a very comprehensive network. And this was pre-pandemic. And so obviously some of those numbers are lower, but, every month, more and more people are being more comfortable to fly.
Sure. I want to talk a little bit, and this goes backwards a little bit, about how this all came about. And
Sure.
It's really interesting because, a community this size of Fort Dodge typically wouldn't be able to have an airline like United flying in and out of there. And so it is really a subsidized program through the Essential Air Service program. So talk a little bit about that, because I think most people don't really realize that this is a subsidized service, and we're really lucky to have this.
Yes, we're very lucky. And so across the nation, not just Fort Dodge, after the airlines deregulated in the late 70s, the goal is to not disconnect any of the rural communities to the global network system of the flying. So, only big cities had air service. So this program was developed. We were not in it until after 9/11. And if you remember, we had we had Northwest Airlines. We also had United at one time, United Express, long time ago. And what happened is after 9/11, it was apparent that those airlines were suffering. And so Northwest was the first airline that got into the Essential Air Service. We were always eligible, but we weren't taking the subsidy money. And so then it moved to Delta, and then and then of course the crisis it was oil prices, it was problems in the airline industry. So the airplanes that we had just got smaller for a while. And therefore we had Air Choice 1 for 6 years. But when the proposals came out this last time, this was the first time that we had a proposal from an air carrier to provide as jet service. And so when you look at the big scheme of things, and what I think is important to understand is the subsidized programs are based upon how many flights they're going to give us a week and the cost of that per flight. So Air Choice One's proposal and SkyWest Jet Service proposal was almost exactly the same amount of money. So so remember, we've got, we have 12 flights a week, and on Air Choice One, we had 96 seats available for people to use in that week. For the same amount of subsidy with the 50-seat jet, we have 1,200 seats per week that are available for people to use our airport, and you can connect worldwide. Whereas with Air Choice One, you were flying, and it was great. If you're going to St. Louis or Chicago, it was very inexpensive because they don't have code-share agreements. They didn't have interline baggage agreements, so that fare, but you're also flying on it was a great aircraft, but it wasn't fast, and it wasn't a pure jet. It was a turboprop jet, and there was only 8 seats. So that is how that works. And so you go through that process, and the community support sends a letter to the US DOT in Washington saying, this is the service we would like to have. But the final decision is not ours. It's the US DOT who awards those essential air service contracts.
And earlier you had said that the DOT gets to make that determination. And I wanted to just flesh that out a little bit. And that's why, because a lot of that money comes from the DOT to help provide this product.
Exactly. It's based on overflight fees. It's through the Airport Improvement Program. And so, the money that goes to the Essential Air Service Program is part of, it's based on flying. I mean, it's based on people who fly is where that funding comes from. So it's a complicated thing. A lot of people don't understand it, but when you're looking at proposals and the amount of subsidy, we want to be good stewards. The Airport Commission is good stewards. The proposal by SkyWest with a 50-seat jet was not hardly anything different of any of the other proposals with smaller aircraft. So that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand either. United Airlines, obviously. So when they called us, so the process of this, I don't think anybody understands how much time this takes. I think I spent, I don't know how much time filling out a survey, because United and SkyWest just don't go to every place. They're very particular about what kind of airport you have, your pavements, your runway length, your taxiways, aircraft rescue and firefighting. So there's a lot of things that go into it. When they first contacted me about considering a proposal, we were talking, and, they said, we're going to take you to Chicago. And I said, that'd be great. We'd love to go to that connection, but boy, would we also like to go west. We haven't ever gone west. We've always gone to Minneapolis and Chicago. So Denver would be great. And they said, well, Denver right now, the reason why we don't have a flight to Denver, but it's not off the table for the future. The reason is that Denver International Airport, again, is doing another construction project on the gates that United Express gets. And they wouldn't allow SkyWest to put any more flights in. So every airport has control of all the gate spaces. And, so the Denver airport wouldn't allow SkyWest to add another flight from our city. So that's why we have 2 to Chicago, 2 flights a day to Chicago. So at some point, I'd love to have 1 to Chicago and 1 to Denver. A lot of connections going west out of Denver. So we'll continue to work on that. We can change this if the airline proposes it, and we put a request into the US DOT to change us 2 flights to Chicago to 1 to the other. They're more than happy to consider that and make that change in that contract.
Great. Rhonda, what's the term of this agreement with United?
It's a 3-year term. And so the other proposals that we got, they had an increase every year in their price as far as their subsidy price. SkyWest proposal does not have an increase in subsidy for 3 years. It's the same price every year. So that's pretty great. And again, with United Airlines, there is nowhere. I mean, you can go anywhere. It's actually a bridge from Fort Dodge to the world. And it's pretty incredible that we have that opportunity to have that kind of service right here in our region. So yeah, it's very exciting. I think what everybody wants to know is why do you even say SkyWest? Well, I think SkyWest I want to tell people about SkyWest because They're one of the largest regional airline carriers in the U.S. All right. They have 450 aircraft that go to 228 destinations. But moreover, they're an award-winning regional carrier. In 2019, they're one of Fortune's most admired companies. They have been doing this. They have been connecting smaller cities to the global network for 75 years. And so we're lucky that they're reliable. They have a good track record of being on time with those code-share agreements. They also have partnerships with not only United, but Delta, American, Alaska. I mean, it's amazing. They carried 21 million passengers in 2020. So, and that was during COVID. So again, the carrier is incredible. The SkyWest, even though you can't book it, it's United. But it's good to know who is providing their service and what kind of airline they are.
Yeah, they really are kind of a subcontractor to many of the airlines, and most people, if they've flown regionally previously, have likely been on a SkyWest flight and didn't know it.
So, and if you ever look at your ticket, like American, I think you'll say operated by Envoy. So a lot of the big carriers hire or contract with these regional carriers to bring passengers to their hub city where their mainline aircraft are flying on it. So yeah, the airplane. So it's a very beautiful, roomy, quiet, 50-seat passenger jet. The cruise speed of this aircraft is about 500 miles an hour. So it goes about 488 miles an hour, and it's a pressurized aircraft, which means the Air Choice 1 aircraft were not pressurized, so they couldn't go very high because they couldn't do the pressure to get it up high enough for the passengers. So they had a hard time getting above weather. They were very affected by weather and weight capacity and those kinds of things. But obviously this aircraft, if you go to the next slide, it shows you a little bit about how it's configured. So it's 2 and 2, has an onboard lavatory. And again, it's an amazing aircraft. It's one of the things that when you have an opportunity to have this type of service with 50 seats, and it's pure jet service, we're very lucky that I feel very grateful that they put in a proposal to provide our service. The other thing that is very great, that is the Chicago O'Hare terminal. Now, I'm not a fan of O'Hare either. Everybody goes, oh, I hate going to O'Hare. Yeah, well, I do too. But the great thing is that United Express operates all their flights in the middle of that gate space. So we don't have a gate that's always going to be the same gate. A lot of people are calling us, so what gate do they go to? Well, it can be any of those in Terminal 2. So Terminal 2 is in the center of O'Hare. So then from there, you can go to any other connecting flight. So it's pretty good location as far as booking your connection and being able to get to another United flight. So again, 323 daily flights to 209 destinations. So that's pretty, you can go anywhere out of Chicago. So United has really stepped up to Clean Plus, they call it. They partnered with Clorox to make sure that their aircraft are clean and they meet the safety standards that everybody has a concern with about being in a crowded airplane or people touching things or whatever. And they spend a lot of time in Fort Dodge at the end of every flight before it takes off again to go through and actually do the cleaning with Clorox. So I feel really good about United's passion about making sure that their aircraft are safe for the people who fly on them. It's really a great program that they did. There are so many things that United has that I'm just going to try to go through a little bit. So frequent flyer miles and all these programs that a mainline carrier like United has is absolutely incredible for people who use the service out of here. The Mileage Plus program offers tons of things that you can apply. So every time you fly, if you get the credit card and you become a Premier member, you don't pay for bags. And it's just on and on and on. So I encourage everybody, the United website is a wealth of information. It's got so much information on there. So anytime you want to find anything, and the great thing about United is that your miles on United, they don't expire. So that's a pretty great thing. And you can earn and redeem the miles on 35 other participating airlines that they also partner with. So it's huge. And they partner with the Hiltons and the Marriotts. So there's other hotel chains that you can use all those points to or gain points on there. Now, this is something that they're doing because our business or our airline is new. And we have never really had United service. It's called a status match. So what United will do, let's say you've been flying on Delta, when it was Northwest, and you still fly on Delta, and you hold a status with a Delta, with a Delta airline. So if you hold the premier status because you fly a lot on any of the other carriers, United will give you that status right away on United. Now, they're not going to transfer your seat miles or your points, but they're going to grant you that status. So if you have a status on another airline that is a high status because you fly a lot, they're going to match it and they're going to give it to you right away, which is amazing. And again, all that information, united.com status match. There's club, of course, as you fly, depending on what level you're at, you can have clubs. There's clubs at every big of the airport that has benefits for those that have those kind of status amenities with United clubs. And let's see, the next one I think is talking about business for business. Yeah. So Perks Plus is for United Business. And again, it is a loyalty program that rewards the companies for travel on United and their participating carriers. So it allows any company or institution to earn points while a person with their company is flying. It gives them points, the company, and it also earns miles to their account. So the traveler gets points as they fly for themselves, but it also earns miles to the business account. And it's an amazing program for those companies that travel, that have a lot of employees, or not even a lot, but they travel frequently. It's wonderful programs that United has, and their discounts on their tickets. And again, it's a reward program for companies is what Perks Plus is. And it's pretty amazing because if people are already traveling, why not? And again, these are all the airlines that the Perks Plus that you can partner with, again, overseas, different countries. And all of those are part of that global network with United. Oh, meetings. So let's say you're going to hold a meeting here in Fort Dodge, or you need to go somewhere. So if you're going to do it, you can have a group. You can go for a group and you can get a discount. You can get a discount on United's, their products as far as their flights and things like that. They offer, it's ideal for corporate meetings or conferences, incentive trips, training, anything that you have for a business. If you're going to do a meeting, you can also have access to discounts off of retail published fares or zone fares if you're going for meetings. And which is pretty amazing. The other thing is groups. I don't think a lot of people understand. So if you have a reunion, you're going on a family vacation and a wedding, you're having a class trip, you're going on a tour, United will give you discounts if you have a group of 10 or more and you're traveling together. You can get a discount. And again, united.com, and you can find out everything you needed to know about it under groups. So it's pretty amazing what United has offer, and all of this applies to Fort Dodge. All of it, you can do it out of here. So it's not like you have to wait till you get to Chicago. All of these things are right out of Fort Dodge. The other thing they do is the next slide. It's academics. So for our academics, whether it's the Senate, all of our schools, anything like that, they also have travel discounts for those, and they waive fees based upon the researchers or anyone who travels on behalf of their school, which is pretty neat. Again, sports, a lot of teams have to fly. So again, United offers special team fares. If they're traveling on the same flight, you can change a name. So if you have a replacement player that needs to go, you can do that for no charge. They waive, change fees are waived for during the group's travel window. So there is just absolutely anything that you're going to do with a group. And this group on the sports is 6 versus the 10 passengers. And again, that is United Group Desk. There's a phone number for that. And I will put, this, I think you guys, this will be out there for everybody to view, but we also can help anybody that needs direction. The airport can do that. Let's see if we keep going. What's the next thing? So let's just talk about the Fort Dodge flights. We have flights operate 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. There's 12 round trips per week. So everybody goes, so what are the times? Well, you don't really need to know the times, because when you go to united.com and you put in, I'm going from Fort Dodge to Phoenix on this day, it's going to show you all those flights that will work for that travel. But just to give you an idea of what we have going, we have a morning departure 7 days a week. So it's typically around 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:10. And the flight times vary. I mean, the flight schedule gets put out far ahead, but then it can get changed per day. We have a late morning arrival that comes from Chicago and a departure. So the airplane comes, makes a turn, goes back to Chicago. That's typically around 11:30, 11 o'clock. But that flight does not operate on Tuesdays and Saturdays. But again, when you're booking your ticket, your flight, it's going to show you what's available. And then, of course, every evening we have an arrival 7 days a week. That airplane stays the night and it turns into the morning departure. So that aircraft can land between 7:30 p.m. to 9. Again, the flight schedule hasn't been real set. I think they're trying to work in we've only been doing this for a little over a month. So they are, it's not necessary to know the flight times, because when you book your trip, it's going to give you that flight time that is going to work for your connection.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about in the past as well. And again, not to say anything bad about Air Choice One, because they've provided such a great service over the course of time. But booking any flight that had a connection did become difficult at times, because not only did you need to make sure that your flight arrived on time, but then you also had to make sure that you had enough layover to be able to make it back through security. So this really does help, and just using that app is such a great way to sort of circumvent all of those maybe delays that might have happened previously.
Well, and you had to book 2 separate tickets. So when I would fly, if I went to Washington and I booked a separate ticket out of St. Louis, so you had to book 2 tickets. So you had to know what time the Air Choice One flight landed, because I would go on Southwest maybe to Washington. In Southwest Mines, you booked that ticket from St. Louis to Washington, that your original city was St. Louis. It wasn't Fort Dodge. So if anything happened and you couldn't make it, they think that you just didn't make their flight out of St. Louis. So again, this seamless connection for travel and beyond that Chicago destination is incredible, because you can go. And the other thing about Chicago is, let's say you miss that flight or it cancels. Chicago has so many departures a day to those main locations. They will help you and rebook you on a different flight, which is great.
Rhonda, do you think, and obviously this is just maybe your experience and opinion here, but do you think that booking those sort of as one unit, your initial flight, your connecting flight, do you think there's some cost savings there by being able to book them at the same time?
There definitely is. And again, I always encourage everybody to think about too, is unless you really have to go at a certain day, a lot of people can be flexible. I encourage everybody, just go to the website, because they'll call us up and say, so what's it cost to go from here to Florida or wherever? Well, it depends. This isn't true United, and it depends on what time you fly, depends on, what connection you have, but you can get different fares just by moving those dates around. So I do believe that you get a savings in cost, because the flight from here to Chicago is then mingled with the cost of a flight that continues on. So it's not just the segmented fares, even though Air Choice One's fares were very inexpensive. I mean, that was true, but you can get some very, very good deals on United. And I always encourage you on their website, up in the right-hand corner, they always have deals, fare deals. You got to look at those. If you're thinking about traveling, see what kind of deals they have. I mean, some of their deals are incredible. So if it works out for you, but I always encourage everybody to try that, and always make sure you're watching those deals, because sometimes they go for a month, sometimes they go longer. So, or they say fly on a Tuesday or whatever.
Sure.
So,
I mean, you and I talked about this a little yesterday. I was looking at booking a flight, and I think I had the initial thought that a lot of people had, and that is, well, great, it's a jet service, that's going to be really nice, but it's going to be more expensive than our choice one. I actually found that my round trip ticket ended up being less expensive. And yeah, I had to look at certain days and things like that to make that happen, but not necessarily more expensive with this service versus our choice one.
no, it's not at all, because what you're doing is you're booking a through ticket, which United recognizes because of the agreement with SkyWest, and so those fares are different. So if you try to book a ticket out of Chicago O'Hare to a destination and see what that cost is, a lot of times the ticket out of Fort Dodge to that same destination is the same price than if you just booked it out of Chicago to that destination. So you're kind of, the connectivity of this service is you're flying to the same price, or for the same price out of Fort Dodge, that if you had bought 2 tickets and had to book it out of Chicago to that destination.
And one thing you forgot to add, Rhonda, you have free parking.
Oh my gosh. And you know, we've already had people from Polk County coming here because it's free parking. And that adds a lot of cost depending upon how long you're going to be gone. Those type of things, and it still is a smaller airport. A lot of people feel more comfortable. So you know, we have this one flight that might have, you know, it has available for 50 people. All right. Well, that's not gonna. It's still only going to be 50 people. I don't have a terminal full of, you know, 1,000 people. So you still can space out. A lot of people feel a little bit more comfortable flying like that. That's a benefit. You don't have to be around a whole crowd of people either.
Yeah, the parking's a great point, Cheryl. The other piece of it to me is just the ease of getting through security. It's not that the security is less, you know, stringent. It's just that it's so much easier to get through it when you're not dealing with thousands of people from all over the country flying who knows where.
Well, I think I do talk a little bit. I think there's one more slide that talks about check-in. We have a lot of questions about when I have to get to the airport. Again, I mentioned this before. Please, please, please use United.com or the app to book your tickets. So we recommend, because it's a small airport, right, that you arrive at the airport at least an hour. But what I would need everybody to know is if you're going to check bags, that check-in closes 45 minutes before the flight departs. If you aren't here checked in and they don't have your checked bag, not carry-on, if they don't have it, it's not going. So it just takes a long time to go through and get it through our security area and then board it onto the plane so that you have an on-time departure. The other thing that people are coming, they're coming out here to see, hey, why don't you can this ticket counter book our flights? These agents are not allowed to book anybody's flights for passengers. So you're not going to be able to come out to the airport and have these people help you book your flight. You know, it's the age of United wants you to use, it's their system. They want you to use the United.com or the mobile app. A lot of people who can't do that, I recommend, there's travel agencies in town. Of course, they'll charge you a fee. But you can always go to them and ask for their help to book those tickets for those people who may not be able to navigate the internet or maybe just not be comfortable doing it. So, but United's, I mean, this is the age we live in. You know, that mobile app will give you notifications the whole time you're flying and before your flight leaves. If there's a change, you get notified. So that's the way to stay connected.
It's great. I'm really excited about this service. I think a lot of folks are, just because it does give so much great connectivity. And yeah, there's some things that maybe have changed, but I don't think we've lost anything necessarily. If you want to, and one of the things that I actually checked was a flight to St. Louis. making that connection in Chicago. Again, while it may have taken, might take a little bit more time because I'll have to go make that connection, the cost didn't really increase for me. And so that's the thing that I thought was really amazing. And I don't have to worry about my luggage making any connections. I know that it'll make that as well. So really great stuff. Something else I wanted to talk about just a little bit is we've got a 3-year term on this. We like that. That's great. But we need to make sure that we use our local services. If United is finding that these flights aren't getting booked, if United is finding after 3 years that we have a lot of empty airplanes, you know, that's something that gets taken into account moving forward.
And it truly does. And I think that, so again, the proposals are based on, you know, their subsidy again is the same as what it was for that 8-seat aircraft. So it's not like they're trying to subsidize the entire plane. So don't get the idea that they're getting all this money to subsidize their entire operation in here. No, they're counting on people using that service to offset that while they do get subsidized, because jets, you know, this service is expensive. They still are counting on people booking tickets. So if that doesn't happen, it's a 3-year term. But when it comes up to, you know, and just like Air Choice One, we had them for 6 years, and you know, they continued to put a proposal in, and with the other proposals, we continued to recommend, and the DOT selected them. So if this doesn't, we don't use it, and SkyWest or United says, I don't want you to put in another proposal. So that's exactly how it works, 3 years. And we've had some great loads. I think one day, one of the flights had 33 people. I mean, and it was right at spring break. So this just started in March 1st. And it was amazing how right off the gate, we were having 30 people booking. Now that's tapered way off. So again, yeah, Jet, you're right. You have to just think about it and try it. You know, always think about united.com, and you just type in Fort Dodge to anywhere.
Yeah, FOD, right? Is that our code?
FOD, which also stands for foreign object debris in the aviation world. And it also stands for the Fort Dodge Regional Airport. But if you type in Fort Dodge in United's website or the app, it'll pop up and it fills in the FOD. You just select it.
Yeah, now I've seen some of these contracts previously. I've never seen the Essential Air Service Fort Dodge contract, obviously. But the way some of these have worked in the past that I've seen is that the airline gets basically a guaranteed minimum per flight, where if we don't fill X number of seats on that's when the subsidy kicks in, and that's how they fill it. But that minimum dollar per flight isn't the number that they want to be able to stick around in perpetuity. And that's why I'd say, man, get on these flights, book locally if you're going somewhere, or at least consider it and check those prices, because I think you're going to find that it's going to be a great experience. You're going to have reasonable fares there as well, but really important to check those local flights if you want to keep this service.
Yeah, absolutely. So their proposals, when SkyWest submitted and they worked with United, every airplane, every proposal puts in a load factor that they expect to see, okay? And some of the proposals are crazy. Like they put in a 99% load factor. There isn't an airline out there that gets a 99% load factor. I mean, just for example, in the year of 2020, our enplanements we only had 50%. It was almost exactly half of what we had in 2019. So this month of March, was the first month since December of 2019 that we had an increase in enplanements.
That's great.
So that's very good news. But so anyway, back to the load factor thing. So in the proposals, you got to read them pretty carefully. SkyWest put a load factor in as what they want to see. It's not impossible for us to get there. They're looking at a 47% load factor. So that's 25 seats about out of the 50 for the course of the year. So we just gotta use it. So they're not expecting us to fill it even 75%. They had a 47% load factor is how they based this price and how they came up with their price. But we do have to get there.
Yeah.
We're not there.
But that's very reasonable. But I think something that we can do, and things like this, letting people know that it's there, is an important factor to make that happen. So
Well,
if you're thinking about regional vacations or vacations anywhere, Fort Dodge Regional Airport's really the first place to look.
well, and we do want that flight to Denver. If we do really well, SkyWest isn't, let's say we do amazingly, we book all these flights. They're not opposed to putting in another flight somewhere that's not subsidized. I mean, that's all about who uses the service and how well it's received. So use it. It could mean a lot bigger things than what we have even now.
Well, it's a great opportunity, Rhonda. Thanks for coming on and sharing all these details with us. I sure appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you for having that out there for people to look at and review, because you can read through that and get a lot of great information. Give us a call out here at the airport. I don't work for United, but I can certainly find an answer for you.
Great. So the best way to get a hold of you then, if somebody has questions that they say, well, I could go to the United, but I just got to talk to Rhonda.
And I won't probably be able to answer all those questions, but yeah, it's just Google Fort Dodge Regional Airport. We have a website too, but people are always asking me, well, what about bags? And okay, so I can't tell you what it's going to cost for your bag because it's based upon the fare you choose. And like I said in one of my slides, if you choose that basic economy fare, you got to pay for your bags. The next fare up is a little higher, but it includes a carry-on bag, or it includes a check bag. And sometimes that higher fare, don't just pick that lot. You got to read what it says. Sometimes that next fare up is going to save you money unless you pick the basic, and then you have to pay for your bags.
Well, was anybody curious whether or not Rhonda was going to have enough to talk about?
No,
Sorry.
she always exceeds our expectations.
Oh my. Well, I love the airport. I've been very lucky to
And
have
it shows.
this job.
It shows.
Well,
And I do think this United is a great win-win for the community across the board, and just really gives us a much more opportunities to promote the tourism, to help our corporate clients. And, I can see Iowa Central when they're traveling all over with that sports thing.
Yes.
I think that would be huge versus them loading up a bus and traveling 12 hours someplace. It might be one.
Or bringing a convention here, or having anything here. All of that is able to get discounted fares to hold those things here. It's a big deal.
When you say that, then that would be a perfect example. If somebody is doing a convention or putting a bid in for a convention or anything like that, they really need to talk to you and United about being able to offer that into that convention.
Absolutely. And that service to get here. And that you can actually now, I don't care where you are, if you wanted to come here, you can get here through United. It's not like you had to go to a different airline and then get on Air Choice One. Most cities anywhere can get here.
Right.
I mean, it's network.
That's a good point, Rhonda. And we haven't even talked about the economic impacts of this change. It's huge. I mean, it really opens up so much for our community and development. So again, thank you for coordinating that. And you had a wonderful ceremony that very first day I was there. That was great. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, so we had to kind of, because of COVID, it was, limited. A lot of those times we'd love to open it up. One time, we'd done a ribbon cutting out by the plane on the ramp, but the COVID environment but it was wonderful that United and SkyWest was still open, and they wanted to have that because they wanted to, they're part of the community. They want it to say, we're here and, please, we're here for you guys. So it's very exciting.
Well, I'm going to bring Darcy back on, who, for some reason, you know how technology is. Darcy got booted there pretty early on in the program, but we're going to bring her back on.
Darcy. You want to unmute yourself?
No, I didn't take it personal. I'm in a different location, and I'm not sure my internet's the best here, so I apologize. But that Rhonda was fantastic, and I'm actually in the process of booking some tickets. and I'm going to go look at Fort Dodge as an option. So yeah, which would save me. I live over by Webster City, so that would definitely save me some drive time and parking and all of that. So awesome presentation. I appreciate it. So I just have a couple of quick things for the North Central Iowa Small Business Development Center, because I know Rhonda did a phenomenal job of providing us with a lot of information, and we just have a few minutes left, and I know Chris has got some things as well. Our center is working aggressively with quite a few of those that can apply for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. It's kind of a niche grant, but as we know, a lot of like the movie theaters and the museums and art festivals and all of those kinds of events were shut down when COVID hit. And there is a grant that actually goes available at noon Eastern time, so it would be 11 o'clock our time. And we've got quite a few clients that we're working with to get those applications pulled together. So if you kind of fall within those ranges and you do want to apply, please, please, please give me a call. It's a little bit of a complex grant, just because there's so much information you have to pull together. But it's not difficult. I'll just put it that way. And I've been walking through with several clients, so I've got probably what you need to make it an easier process. So get a hold of me. My office number is 515-574-1996. So I definitely wanted to put a pitch in for that. Really exciting news for our center. And I think I kind of shared a little bit about this maybe last week or the week before, but we have a brand new program starting. And it's called the Rural Business Innovators Program. It's a startup accelerator that really is going to get out into the rural communities and help those with tech and truly innovational type business concepts to kind of come to fruition. And Iowa State University has a wonderful program called the Startup Factory. And this program is very similar in certain ways, and it's very different because it actually goes out into the rural communities and is working one-on-one. It's an 11-week program. There are peer-to-peer groups. There's counseling sessions. The team walks you through multiple steps. And in fact, it may be a good presentation to have Ethan Pitt, who heads up this program with Small Business Development Center, to be a guest, maybe for a future show. But this is a truly innovative program. The Iowa Area Development Group has teamed up with the SBDC to bring this into the rural communities. And we also have a couple other sponsors that are in negotiation right now, and so I can't share those, but one is a international company, and it brings a lot of credibility to this program. If you want to learn more about it, please get a hold of me and I can get you in touch with Ethan. My email address is Darcy, DARCY, the letter S, at ncisbdc.com. And it's a great program. Part of the problems that we're seeing is we have a lot of amazing folks in these rural communities that just don't sometimes have access to those larger city programs, partly because they don't know about them. But then it also is a major time commitment. If you have to travel from, Pocahontas all the way down to Ames, that takes a good chunk out of your day. And if you're already working for someone, you can't take time off from work very often to be able to go do those things. So this program actually brings everything, brings everything out to the rural communities so folks can work on their businesses and provide the time that they need for them. But it's an awesome program, and I am super excited that it's officially okay to share it. So, and then just one other quick thing. I've been talking over the last couple of weeks about the student entrepreneurial program that Kimberly and I have been working with Avila Bank, DMAC, because it's the community college in the Carroll area, and Google is our national sponsor for that. And we actually have our pitch contest tomorrow. So we have 5 teams of high school students that are taking business classes at DMAC from Carroll and Carroll Kemper. And they're going to go through they've been through 5 weeks of learning about about the different stages of the business canvas model. And then they've been talking and listening to entrepreneurs and their stories. And then tomorrow they get to put their own pitch deck together for a concept of either a product or service. And they get a pitch to local judges. So just like Shark Tank, they're going to be up talking about their markets and how their product solves a problem and what their cost is and what they're selling it for and the distribution channels. And they're going to be looking for funding, quote unquote funding, from these judges. But they do get some prizes provided by Avela, some little swag stuff, and that's all fun. So tomorrow will be a really exciting day. And so if anyone is interested in bringing that to their community in our region, we would love to talk to you. We've got opportunities for both we did it a year and a half ago live in person. And of course, we've had to pivot, I hate that word, for this year because of the COVID restrictions. So we're actually looking at kind of morphing the two and making it into more of a hybrid, because there were some advantages from the virtual and some definite advantages from being in live. So that'll be something that we'll be working on, but we would like to get it out into more communities. So, and then if you are interested in borrowing a light box to take photos, let me know. I got some at our center. I've dropped some off for Chris. She's got them in her office, and we would love to get those out. They don't cost you anything. So if you're looking to up your online game with photos of your products, this is a great little resource to have available if you are just wanting to use it for a few times a year or what have you. So so those are just the updates that I have from our center. So
thank you.
You bet.
On the Shark Tank, I was working with Joy Beach out of DMAC, out of Ankeny, and we were talking about that, and I said this would be great to bring to our community. So you're right. I'd love to see that.
Yep, and we're hosted by Iowa Central, so that's a program that we've been talking about with them, because we want to partner with the local community colleges, obviously. And so in the Fort Dodge area, we'd be partnering with Iowa Central, and we actually had it to roll out, and then COVID hit, so we had to pull back, and then we ended up doing this virtual platform utilizing Carol, since we'd already been through it, and thought if we stumble, it's better to stumble with folks that have already been through the program and get it. So, but we're ready. And so I'll make sure, Cheryl, that we kind of roll back around and have those conversations, because I think it would be an amazing partnership and an opportunity for our youth and our communities. So
sounds great.
Great.
Chris.
So our small business lab that I've been talking about for a few weeks, that's our partnership with the Rural Idea Network, is hopefully going to go live tomorrow. They sent it to me last night. It is a standalone website, which will be hooked to our website, mainstreetfd.org. And we're offering a lot of different virtual coaching opportunities through this site: startup coaching, business management, entrepreneur roundtables, panel discussions, technical assistance, and it's all confidential. You actually use this online platform to pick your date and time. The nice thing about working with the Rural Idea Network is sometimes you can get an appointment with an expert or a specialist the same day that you really need to talk to somebody. Also, time management pieces and any topic that you can think of or that impacts your business is suitable for this virtual lab. Also, any new entrepreneurs, I think with the SBDC and Iowa Central, there are so many opportunities for new entrepreneurs to learn as much as possible about their businesses. Also, I can't stress enough that the Iowa Source Link is another great state resource to find out licensing and other things that you might need. So hopefully you'll check out our new link. It should, like I said, go live tomorrow, and that will be on our website. So next Thursday, I want everybody out shopping in the downtown from 4 to 7 p.m. for our Girls Night Out. That's our Main Street Merchant Group. We have 13 businesses that are participating, and if you find all of the flowers that spell chicks, you can enter that in online and win a prize. So, or be put in a drawing to win a prize. So more details next week, because you know what? We are running out of time. We have 1 minute, Jed. 1 minute.
We'll go over. It'll be fine.
Oh, it's a great show today. So
Yeah.
much thanks to Rhonda for all that information. And it is a great opportunity to grow Fort Dodge.
Yeah. Really excited about today's show. Please like, share, do all the things that we ask you to do with social media, because I think lots of folks will love to have this information. So thanks a lot. That's going to do it for this show. It is our business community discussions happening every Thursday, 9 a.m. right here on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page. Please join us. Give us that like, share. You can also catch us on the Alpha Media YouTube channel as well. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.